stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. First on the agenda is a public hearing. I'll open this public hearing at 6:31 for the proposed use of a bed and breakfast at 910 Olean Road. If anyone would like to address the board, please step up to the mic and keep your comments to 3 minutes because we're so crowded. Would anyone like to address the board regarding the bed and breakfast at 910 Olean Road? Okay. Seeing no one, I'll close this public hearing at 6:32. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda items. Can I have a motion to approve the June 10th, 2024 Town Board meeting minutes, along with the June 24th, 2024 abstract, and a request from Highway Superintendent Dave Gunner to transfer $1,675 from line A7110.105 to line A7189.105 to cover labor expenses for the soccer fields earlier in the year.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is an opportunity for the audience to address the board on anything on the agenda. If anybody would like to speak to the board, just step up to the mic. And seeing no one, we'll move on to unfinished business. First under unfinished business is the resolution and agreement between the town of Aurora and Spectrum Northeast LLC. Can I have a motion to adopt and authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement with Northeast resolution as follows? Now therefore be it resolved that the board of the town of Aurora hereby grants the cable television franchise of Spectrum Northeast LLC and the town of Aurora for 15 years commencing with the date of approval by the Public Service Commission and expiration 15 years hence. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple of things. I was concerned about this. I didn't understand the point of entering into a franchise agreement with a cable system. I see that we received some sort of compensation for them being the franchisee. Is that correct? The nature of my concern was that I know there's going to be additional internet providers. I was assured, and in all my research, this strictly and only applies to cable television. So will in no way prohibit competition in the internet space. So therefore I support it, but I just want to say I had to go through all that in case there's any confusion to arrive at my decision.
Well, thank you for digging into that, Joe.
No problemo.
Any other comments?
I also put thought into it, but I won't take you down that journey.
Well, thank you for that. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda is a local law for the rezoning of 12 Old Glenwood. Can I have and the first part of this is the state environmental assessment review, and that's what this is. So can I have a motion to declare a negative declaration at the property located at 12 Old Glenwood Road?
So moved.
Motion by Luke.
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next part of this is the local law for 12 Old Glenwood. Could I have a motion to adopt local law number 4-2024 for the property of Old Glenwood Road? Okay. Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. This is a roll call vote.
Aye.
I,
Grenville?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next, under new business, I'd like to add M, if I could, the village property access resolution. It was kind of a last minute thing. So can I have a motion to add 6M, the village property access resolution?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
second,
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. First, under new business, we have a request to plant a tree, which will be provided to the town in Major Park in memory of Sean Freeman. Sean enjoyed the park tremendously, and the tree will grow in his memory and enhance the park. There'll also be a small brass plaque placed flush with the ground under the tree. If there was anyone here who would like to come up and speak to the board about this, they are more than welcome. Perfect. Just give us your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Becky Freeman. I'm at 10 Hillcrest Road, and I will speak on behalf of Sean's friends who have asked my permission if they could place a memorial if the town agrees with it. Just a gathering place for them to remember him.
Mhm.
Something that befits the park, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we would be pleased to put a tree in
Sure.
memory of him.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve this memorial as stated?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Comments or discussion?
Honored to do it.
Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have Barry Hobner from Freedom Energy to speak. And Luke, you want to,
right.
Ray, you want to tell us about this?
Well, Barry has worked in this space for many, many years, and I originally approached him about the solar energy initiative. He said he didn't work in that space, but might be applicable to what we're trying to do here going forward as far as our energy bills are concerned. So it's got a presentation.
We can share.
I don't need one.
Well, I have it you sent it electronically. So.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. So I am a town resident of Aurora. Live up on the hill. And
Up on the hill.
Ray approached me as we worked for years on the soccer board together. And he knew I was in energy and that you guys were discussing energy. So the first thing he talked about was community solar, which we do community solar for municipalities and businesses, but not really for residentials, which I believe is what you guys were looking for, was a community solar. I'm happy to look at any sort of paperwork or any numbers that you get. That's I guess my biggest thing is that I've been in the energy industry for 20 years. I've been a trader on the commodity exchanges. And so I know how to poke holes in numbers, especially solar. I can say that I've never seen a solar proposal that actually has real numbers and real payback amounts. So I'd be happy to look at anything. But today I'm representing Freedom Energy. They are a strategic energy management and sustainability group. So what we do is advise municipalities. We work with 80 municipalities throughout the Northeast. I've been recently hired this year because they are getting into the New York territory. They've been mostly in New England based. And so I've been working in New York since 2010. So if you go to the next slide, like I said, they're based out of New England. And you can see with partnering with us, we do have people that have been around even longer than I have. I would say our biggest thing is supplier agreements. So what separates us from what most people know as brokers, we like to say that we're a consultant, not a broker, is that there is a lot of language that allows suppliers to essentially do what they want. So what we have been able to do, and because of our large book, is to be able to negotiate those contracts for our municipality customers to make sure that, if they were to enter into a fixed price, say, that fixed price actually stands throughout the contract. We also help with sustainability goals. So because we do work in the commodity space as well, like I said, we know the numbers, we know when they're inflated, and we can advise through any sort of sustainability project that you want. Rooftop solar, like I said, community solar as well. I can tell you, looking at the numbers, that there will be no more solar built that does not have a battery attached to it because of the amount of money that's available for batteries. Even at your house, if you were to put a solar on your roof, the money is there. That totally makes sense for you to have battery storage as well. And that's one of New York's big things in 2030 is to have so much battery storage, and I have a slide on that as well. So if you go to the comprehensive energy solutions, this just lists all of the different services that we provide. So electricity, natural gas, I've even done propane before, steam as well. So we have energy advisory services that essentially, I say my job is to make my customers the most informed decision maker possible in the least amount of time. Because everybody's busy, and that's why you work with someone else. So I know that Erie County is here, and they work with Fluent Energy, which I have worked with Fluent in the past, had shared customers. They are a back office for a third-party supplier, the Energy Co-op of America as well, which is where we worked with Fluent the most. So I know that with their aggregation, it's essentially a real-time product or a market product where you don't lock in anything. And I will say that for the last 20 years, that has been the best way to save money. I just wanted to bring up some things that you would want to think about before you essentially give over your decisions to Erie County to make your energy decisions. So I have a slide here of competitive energy options, with Freedom Energy. So when you have an aggregated approach, sometimes there's winners and losers. This is not like buying pins, where if you buy more pins, you get a lot quantity discount. Electricity is based upon how efficiently you use energy. So on peak hours from 7 a.m. till usually 10, 11 in the evening is usually on peak hours, and they cost a lot more than when everybody's sleeping at nighttime. And that's just supply and demand. And so your electricity prices are essentially based upon when you use energy and what your peak is. So if you, let's say you have 10 machines and you turn them all on at the same time, that's going to be a massive peak, and that's going to be a massive cost raise to your energy. So when you're in an aggregation, you essentially become, well, part of an aggregation. So the way that I like to put it is, you know, if you were going to get a mortgage, would you want to get a mortgage by yourself, or would you want to get one with everybody on your street? So you don't know who else is in the aggregation to, like I said, there's always winners and losers. So there's always usually 50% of winners that are not as efficient, and so they get a better rate than they would have on their own. And then you have the other 50% that are more efficient, that are basically supplementing the other less efficient aggregation customers. Any questions so far?
I guess I don't quite understand that. We
Yeah.
use a certain amount of energy at a rate that is lower because we're aggregating all the sources. So how
Right,
is it that
yes.
if we have a building that is using more energy, that's going to save us more, but it's not going to affect the savings of a building that we have that's using lower energy if we have the same agreed rate?
Right, because your electricity pricing is based upon your load profile. So like I said, it's based upon your peaks. So it's not, like I said, it's not like buying pens.
But if we're aggregating, isn't our load profile based on everybody together?
Yes, exactly. Yep. So you would have, so let's say that you're really efficient and you don't have very high peaks. You're going to be able to get a rate on your own because you're way more efficient than you would being in an aggregation.
Are you able to tell us the rate we would be able to get if we were to go with you?
Yeah, I mean, I have the current market rate, and I can tell you that it is nowhere near the current prices. It's in the 7 cent range. And currently, because it was such a warm winter, and this is what I tell all my clients, they ask me when they want to buy energy. It's when you have a warm winter, because prices spike, or prices tank essentially, because there was no demand. And that's usually when there is a lot of demand, especially in electric now.
So when you compare your rate to what we currently have to what's being proposed by others, is there?
Yes, so I will say that Erie County's program, where you're just riding the market, is way better than what you were getting through New Wave Energy. I can tell you that right now. And anytime you lock in a rate, it's just like getting insurance. So there's going to be a premium over just riding the market. Because riding the market, you're going to have your highs, and you're going to have your lows. And I have some examples of what it looks like to ride the market as well.
I have a quick question too, and I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And mine's real simple, and you don't have to do a lot of explaining. So if I understood what you said correctly, it'd be more expensive for us to run a light bulb at 9 a.m. than it would be at 9 p.m. at night. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And my meter knows that
Figure out in
somehow?
real time. Essentially, it depends on what type of meter you have.
Okay, like a
So,
residential meter does.
yeah,
Mine just spins it.
like
Yeah,
meter
okay,
at home, they just read it once a month, so it's just a monthly meter.
gotcha.
There are cities, Baltimore, Chicago, there's more coming where it is real time, so they read it every single hour. And you're billed that way, but.
Do we have
in New
real time
York, we're
here?
Not that way yet.
Oh, so it doesn't matter then.
Right, exactly. Well, it's still based upon the load profile. So it's still based upon your demand with your usage. It's not just usage based, is essentially what I'm saying. There's also a demand component as well.
Is that the old, used to be and still is today, I believe, an on-demand meter?
On demand
Like
meter.
business-
It is
business-
demand, yeah.
it's
yeah,
an
it
on-demand meter.
measures, yeah, it measures your demand as well.
That's
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
And when you talk about that aggregate, how big of an area is that aggregate? The aggregation, is that
Oh, well, I mean, Erie County is. gonna
Erie
be talking
County,
about
is it
their
New York State, is it Western New York?
Yeah,
Is it
so,
this side of the
either-
Mississippi?
Yeah, there's all different kinds of aggregations. I think Erie counties is just municipalities, but they can speak to that more when they come up next.
And I only ask that because you mentioned that, energy is, good time to buy energy is in the winter, a light winter, but yet as far as electricity goes, a lot of brownouts are in the middle of summer because of air conditioning.
Exactly. The thing is essentially prices used to be, so let's say 20 years ago, you know, not only did natural gas come from the Gulf of Mexico, now it comes from Pennsylvania, here. There was also so much storage that you have for natural gas. So you store gas in the ground and it comes out in the winter. So the reason why prices have tanked and why you're seeing such low prices currently is because prices tanked, and I have a graph of that as well that kind of shows where the storage is. But more and more every year is a new record of how much natural gas is being used for electricity because there are no more coal plants being built. There's one, I think, nuclear plant that's coming online. It was supposed to be online like 5 years ago. That's still not online. And there is renewables, but currently it's only like 2%, I think, renewables that serve how much electric. And so what you have is natural gas taking that cost. I can tell you in New England, their prices are 3 times more than New York's. And the reason that is because they shut down all their coal plants and all they have is natural gas. Now, their natural gas pipelines that serve them, they served for a winter load. So, and now they need so much gas because all they're building is gas-fired generation, that they don't have gas because nobody will let a new pipeline come from Pennsylvania through. And I can tell you that there's been a gas pipeline sitting on the Hudson River for the last since I've been in the industry for 25 years, that still can't get the rights to cross the Hudson River. So essentially what they're doing, so let's say right now, gas is trading $2. They're paying $100 a decatherm in the winter to bring a ship up to Boston to be able to serve the gas load. And that's why their energy prices are 3 times what ours are. And I can tell you that energy is basically cheaper here because of Niagara Falls, for electric at least, than anywhere else in the state as well. I forget where I was going with that, but any other questions?
It was show the curiosity.
Yeah, I didn't understand how, because we have a meter that just in this building, I believe, just runs continuously based on how much electricity we're
Yeah,
using.
so it's definitely counting your kilowatts per hour.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I'm not sure that you guys have a real-time meter that,
Yeah.
you know.
So
reflects it.
spikes and peaks don't apply to us. It's just how much.
Well, no,
electricity
it
you
still
use
reads your
per day.
demand as well, like the supervisor was saying. It's still a demand read meter, so it does measure demand as
Yeah.
well.
It
Yeah.
does.
So the proposal from Freedom is what, is LNG electricity?
What I can do is I can do something similar to what the aggregation is, which is just writing the market. But you would also have options to lock in when it makes sense as well.
Gotcha.
And you guys would decide it and not Erie County.
And are your rates competitive now with the aggregation rates, or?
Well,
I guess tell us on why we don't want to go with aggregation.
well, I said you just don't get to decide on whether you're locking in or whether you're writing the market. You're handing it over to Erie County. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the decision is, do you want to give up the power to decide how you want to buy your energy, or do you just give it over to Erie County?
So what's the mechanism for doing that? In other words, toggling back and forth between an aggregation and fixing a rate. You study it, you recommend?
I guess, can you clarify that? Because you can only be supplied by one supplier.
Right.
Yeah.
So Erie County Fluent Energy is the one who is, purchasing the energy, I assume. And, they're just writing the market and that's your rate. Now, if you go on your own, there's, a litany of suppliers. I'm sure that you get stuff at home, Constellation, your
Sure.
Direct Energies, where you can lock in your energy at any time. But you can also decide to ride the market for any certain time as well.
And the rates that you're proposing.
Yes, so electricity prices right now, like I said, it costs more because you're purchasing into the future. There are unknowns. Would I tell you to lock in right now? I would say, think about it. Because they're in the 7 cent range, where if you're just riding the market, it's currently in the 5 cent range is, I would say, as an average currently.
The 7 cent is the lock-in rate.
Yeah, where you would lock it in, yep, and you could lock it in for about 5 years is usually the max that suppliers will let you lock in. And I'm just saying that it's a good time right now, just because we haven't really had that hot of a summer yet. And like I said, after warm winters is when you want to buy, and I have a graph that shows you why.
And the 7 cents includes the cost of Freedom as the broker, or?
Yeah. And it depends, the farther you go out, the more risk that the supplier has, the more insurance, I would say that you have to buy premium, I call it. So it is a little bit more to go further out. But at the end of the day, you'll know what that known cost is for however long you sign up for. And I will say, for the last 20 years, it's made sense just to ride the market. As long as you can afford, like in 2022, when prices spiked for half of the year, as long as you can afford to pay that, which I assume the town can, it has totally made sense to just ride the market, because you're not paying for that premium. Customers that need to know what their budget is in order to know what to price their widget that they're making. It makes sense for them to lock in because they know. But as far as the town is, I just wanted to give you the good, the bad, the ugly of different ways, and just make you more informed. Like I would not say that you guys are totally blowing it by going with Erie County. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you're giving up your options is all.
Are there any other services that Freedom provides that a municipality would benefit from?
Yeah, I mean, there's solar, if you wanted to strap solar or do a field of solar, wherever the town owns land. I can certainly help with that. Like I said, it goes along with battery storage. Totally makes sense for battery storage for any solar that you're putting in now. I know that we have the EV charger out here, but any sort of EV chargers, I know that there's some out at the county parks as well. We could help install those. And at the end, you can also buy green energy. So you can also buy RECs to green your energy. So right now, I would say, I don't know the exact percentage, but 90% of the electric you're burning right now is called brown energy. So it's basically from coal, natural gas. Suppliers have to have so much green energy, but you could also buy RECs, and you could say that your energy is 100% green as well. And we can help you buy in the REC market as well.
Okay.
And you could also do it through a third-party supplier as well with your supply.
Who else are you working with right now in this area?
Oh,
Because you said you've been doing this for a year.
yeah. So actually, Fluent Energy, we lost a customer to them. I did have the city of Buffalo was one of them. I work with the city of Auburn, city of Geneva, and that's pretty much it for New York. And the rest of them, like I said, there's I think 77 or 78 that they just bought throughout the Northeast, because we have a whole group that just deals with municipalities. And there's, like I said, close to 80 right now that our company is working with.
So if we locked in at 7% today, we would pay a different premium if we wanted to lock it in for 1 year or 5 year or 10 year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually suppliers will only go out 5 years just because of the risk of the unknown. As we've seen when, Ukraine got invaded, prices just went through.
So somewhere between 1 and 5 years.
Yeah. So, what I'm saying is that our energy prices, the lowest that they could possibly be, no, but they're close. Especially with, if you go to the next slide, I just wanted to give just some reasons of, of course, New York has its goals. That is going to lead to a higher cost, at least in the near term. in order to meet those goals that we have. We're currently pretty far behind. If you look at the next graph, this is just the amount of natural gas. And like I said, when you talk about electric prices, you have to talk about natural gas because it is the marginal fuel. And it, like I said, every year it's more and more natural gas. So as you can see, we're sending a lot more natural gas overseas, which makes no sense to me. But that's what we're doing and selling it to, Korea, Japan, or the big off takers, even China. So that is just increasing the demand of natural gas right now because prices are so low. Natural gas producers are actually sheltering and capping their wells. So right now is the lowest number of wells that are actually producing natural gas that we've had in at least the last 30 years. And the reason is that because they're not making money. And so they're capping the wells, you lessen the supply. They're hoping that the demand will come. They see the demand coming. I'm telling you that the demand is coming.
Yeah.
These are numbers from the EIA. If you go to the next graph, it talks about AI. I can tell you that we have data center customers that are building data centers left and right. The reason is an AI search is 10x what a Google search is in the amount of electricity used. So every time you use an AI search, that's 10 times the amount of electricity that it's going to be used. So our data center customers are putting in data centers left and right, and that is going to be a massive increase of electric. As well, you can see, we have the EV. This past January compared to the year before, EVs jumped 50%. And we've seen that pretty much the last 2 years. 50% increase year over year for EV charging. And the next graph is about natural gas. So as you can see, the blue line there is where we're at with natural gas. You can see why the gray area is a 5-year average. So the last 5 years, how full storage is. And you can see that's why we have such low prices right now is that blue line. But you can also look in 2022, you can see that we were at the bottom of that gray. And if you go to the next graph, it shows you what happened in 2022, which is the yellow line, which is way higher than prices. Any questions so far? And then I only have one more and I'll be done. And then this is from the EIA government administration. And this is basically just a regression analysis on prices, and it just shows how volatile pricing is. And like I said, we saw that in 2022 with the invasion of Ukraine, as well as we had a cold, I believe, February that year, and it spiked prices. And as you can see, within a 95% certainty, prices, could bounce up very high, much higher than they are now. And I think that with the other graphs that I've shown you, that is definitely and certainly a probably definitely going to happen. So like I said, the Erie County program is, like I said, the last 20 years. I'm sure everybody that's on there has saved money, but you're also giving up, your decision making on what you want to do going forward. And possibly, the amount of green energy as well, but I can always help you buy RECs on the side as well. Any questions?
One more quick question.
Yeah.
You had mentioned in the beginning of your program there that I think you said solar installations are going to be done with a battery
Yes.
for residences. I'm assuming you're
Yeah,
talking.
well, even businesses.
Even
because
businesses.
of the amount of money that the federal government is giving, as well as states. It makes no sense to put in solar and not have a battery strapped to it.
Well, there's,
How big would that battery be?
Well, it depends on how big your
Well, let's
solar
take this
field
building
is.
as a for instance. And I'm not
Right.
expecting you to nail it this right to the inch.
Yeah.
I mean, would it be the size of half this room or would it be the size of a
Oh,
car?
no, they're way smaller now. It'd probably be maybe the size of this table. I mean, the ones that you could have on your house are like smaller than a briefcase now.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there was a coal-fired plant that was shut down and it's being converted to a battery storage downstate, right?
Yeah, there are those. You know, I got all kinds of stories that I can tell you about. You know, there's ones that have been shut down that Bitcoin is now fired back up on Seneca Lake and dumping a bunch of warm water that is not helping the wildlife there that
Yeah.
people are against. But they're allowed so far. So there are definitely repurposing of these coal-fired power plants. But at the end of the day, coal has been the cheapest, and soon it's going to be phased out. And pretty much everything else, at least in the short term, because solar, you do get your payback after, you know, a few
Right.
years down the road, but there is some upfront investment that you have to do.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thanks, Bert.
What's it?
Having the two back.
Next is a presentation from Fluent. Gentlemen,
Good evening, everyone.
good evening. Would you give us your name, please?
Sure. My name is Reed Brandon. I'm the Director of Energy for Erie County, and this is Ed Dahl. He's our consultant with Fluent Energy. I don't know. I think Barry gave our presentation, so do you have any questions?
How many folks in the aggregation?
We currently have 42 municipal participants, which include the county and other public benefit corporations like ECMC, Water Authority. But Barry's absolutely right. We ride the market, right? We are buying it wholesale. So whatever National Grid pays for it, whatever New Wave pays for it, whatever Freedom Energy pays for it, you're paying for it, right? So we don't lock in contracts, so we're not able to predict the future. So we just kind of go with what the market offers. That's not so much the case with gas, but we can get into that if you have any questions on that. Trying to think.
What is the benefit of going with aggregation? So going with Erie County,
So going with Erie County, you're getting the same wholesale price that you would if you were a direct customer yourself. So we're providing you with the lowest cost you could possibly get. We have a 0.0005 cents per kilowatt hour markup. So what is that? Half of a tenth of a penny?
Half of a tenth.
Yeah, so basically it's just enough to cover the cost for purchasing that energy. Fluent does it on a day-to-day basis. They have all of the data from all of the different municipalities and all the energy that they consume. They place that order one day ahead of time usually. So they have purchasing algorithms that they use, and so that's really what you're covering. My salary is paid by the county, so it's no cost to you guys. So I guess that's kind of our advantage, is that we're not in it for profit. We're just trying to take that benefit that we can get because we can purchase directly from NISO and extend it to the other municipalities.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway here is that the Erie County utility aggregate is Erie County 20 plus years ago signed some paperwork to be a direct customer. Yes, sorry about that. To be a direct customer with the New York Independent System Operator. That is the grid for New York State. So every single licensed energy trader, energy seller, energy reseller, every generator is a member of the New York ISO. And so is Erie County. So any other entity you would buy from is a member there. Erie County purchases at exactly the same rates as the very largest energy companies because they're large enough. This aggregation is extremely large. It's approximately 300 million kilowatt hours annually is the current total. So that's larger than many small energy companies around. So, and there's virtually no overhead other than the small fee that you have there, which covers Fluent's advisory services. So to be clear, Erie County is the customer. Erie County is the counterparty to the New York ISO. Fluent Energy is simply a consultant and advisor. When you buy wholesale, it gets a little more complicated. So that's really what's happening. Erie County is buying wholesale energy and then passing that through directly. So even though we have hundreds of accounts in this aggregation and we purchase it all in bulk every hour, everybody's added together. When we bill you, everyone gets exactly the price that they're supposed to get based on their exact usage pattern, because we collect all the data from the utility. So if town of Aurora or whoever, on an account level, on an hour by hour level, everybody is getting exactly, that's really what the biggest service that Fluent's providing, is that sort of billing advisory. So there's very little subsidization, or if I'm pronouncing that correctly, between the members. So you're getting a virtual wholesale pass through for a very small fee. The fee of 0.0005 per kilowatt hour. Many for-profit entities would charge, and if you have a broker in the middle, it'd be even more. You could be 10 times that, but very easily. So there's no possible way you can get a cheaper price for variable pricing. If you want to talk about locking in for years at a time, that's a different story. We just don't offer that. And I won't go too much longer here, Reed, I promise, but Fluent Energy, we work with Erie County. We advise on a similar program at Monroe County and Niagara County and several other municipalities. All together, we're probably working with over 300 municipals and school districts throughout these aggregations. And what we found over many years is that sometimes you really don't want to make a decision or take a bet on what prices are going to be in the future. It's very, especially for municipalities, it's just very practical. And that's how we've always looked at it. If, in 2022, we did have some pretty significant market spikes, but if someone comes and asks you, how come the town's paying so much? Well, read the newspaper or look outside. Okay, there was a blizzard, a heat wave, or the invasion of Ukraine. None of those things are predictable. On the other hand, if you lock in a price just based on some arbitrary feeling about how things are going to go, you may have to explain why you paid 50% more over the next year. If someone was actually looking at your bills, well, why did you make that call? And that's really what this comes down to. And plus, there's a proven track record of that savings. And I don't have any indication that's changing, although I do believe that prices are drifting up. It's not just the commodity, it's all the utility side charges and some other things too, but
Can I just ask a question about that one point? You said there's proven savings. Where is that? Where's that information?
yes, good question. So every month with the billing, so any member of the aggregate gets billed once a month, all nicely packaged up for all their accounts. We also provide a savings analysis, and that is comparing what you paid to what the local utility would have charged you. It's really the only benchmark that we have to compare.
Yeah.
So, the savings, you're in NYSEG, and the savings in NYSEG can be a little bit volatile, but over time, I typically tell folks they should be able to save at least it could be 5 to 10% off the utility rate. It's not a lot, but it is something that you can demonstrate and you can see it. The report that I think we provided one report.
I was going to ask you about this.
That doesn't have, there was some other things for it around. That particular report is just showing the difference between what the aggregate would have charged over, there's about 7 months is all we had to compare from the bills we got so comparing between the aggregate and your current supplier, not the utility. That's what that represents. So it was about 26% lower than what you would have paid 26% less had you been with the county over that period that was looked at. Now, we have a separate report, and we can give you all the numbers, or we can go through everything. But if we were to compare the aggregate to the utility, we did run those numbers for a year, so a slightly different period. The savings was about 22 or 23% off in NYSEG. Now, you just heard me say I only tell people 5 to 10% maybe in NYSEG, but NYSEG's rates are hedged a little bit. There's things that the utility does that don't really follow the market all the time. So when the market's relatively calm, you actually save quite a bit more money. So you would have saved 20%, 23% off of the utility rate over that period.
So just real quick to interject there, you're saying we paid more with New Wave than we would have directly through NYSEG?
I didn't, I could tell you those numbers exactly. I didn't look at it that way, but that's, yes. Because it was about, you saved about 26% versus New Wave, and then over a slightly different period, you would have saved about 22% off
Gotcha.
utility. So somewhere in there, I mean, and that's a lot what you see with smaller ESCOs like this. Unfortunately, there's a huge margin that comes with floating. You know, on these deals, it's just
Gotcha.
Is your, does your price per kilowatt fluctuate from 9 AM in the morning until between that and 11 o'clock at night? Are you on?
Yes, however, the meters, you don't have any meters that record hourly or real-time information. So what happens is your meter at the end of the month shows the total number of kilowatt hours. And then the utility applies a statistical load profile to that. And they break it up into hourly buckets. So it's based on statistically how an account of your size would function. And you're priced hour by hour. So you will, whatever the utility size was assigned to that hour based on averages, your price will be separate hour by hour, if that makes sense.
Well, I don't think that meter breaks it down.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No.
But
Do you break it down that way as well, or?
Utility publishes statistical load profiles. So we have a lot of data. Yes, and that's our job. When we do billing, we break everything down to the hourly level, multiple components down to the hourly level. Even though your meter doesn't go there itself, it all has to, because the entire electricity market is an hourly thing. I mean, this is information that most people don't.
And where do you get that information?
The utilities publish the load profile. This is standard stuff for any.
It's based on the aggregate. It's not based on this individual company or this individual building. It's based on an overall. Is that what?
No, we take every meter separately. We buy it all as bulk, but when it's, so this is the issue we have with billing, is that we've got a top down and a bottom up, and then there's some differences that we have to allocate, but we're very good at what we do. So we're very close in terms of these allocations. So we are giving you billing based on exactly what your meter has reported to NYSEG. NYSEG then electronically provides that information to the county, which we administer. We take that data combined with the published statistical load profiles, and then the wholesale market I mentioned, the NYSO, they're the ones that determines the hourly energy rates. Every hour there's an auction going on and there's a settlement. This is the official price for this area of the state for electricity, and your load profile that's now developed hour by hour, even though you didn't get metered hour by hour, you get assigned something by the utility. That's bounced off the hourly prices, and then that's your.
And that assignment of that rate would be comparable or compared to or use data from another perhaps municipality that's around our size, or a building that's our size,
Yes.
that's operated 9 to 5 or 9
If you had another.
versus an ECMC or something like that.
Another
Right.
building of the exact same size, that was the same service class with the same meter period. And had the same peak. Every account is actually a little different,
Sure,
but yeah,
sure.
it would be approximately that.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think you're gonna find a comparable town clerk who's keeping the electricity
Well-
down, so we should get a town clerk discount as well on your measurements, so.
So the whole idea of the Erie program is just to make things easier for folks. So, obviously there's best practices in terms of putting out municipal bids for electricity, and just having these conversations. It's very challenging for individual municipalities to put together a proper bid. Typically, then you have to hire someone or work with a broker and make sure it follows a municipal procurement process. Here, this group is set up under New York State Municipal Law, Article 5G, shared services. This is the whole point here, to make things easy. So there is no reason to bid this. On electricity, this is a sole source. You're buying directly from the source. There is no intermediary whatsoever. The only fee is transparent
And-
fee. That's.
And so approximately per kilowatt hour, what would, we be paying for a building in usage, our size?
All I can do, I mean, you're going to pay the rate that.
Today,
Uh,
or yesterday, or some example?
Well, we can give you the average.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
it's
it's-
difficult to do because it fluctuates hour by hour, but we can give you the average based on.
Right.
I'm looking for, this is.
I'll tell you over the ads.
Oakwood Avenue.
Yeah.
So, the average rate for the 7 months, that we looked at this data was about 5 cents.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically what it is. There's like hundreds of little components that are actually baked into these costs, every. single thing, but
Understood,
yeah,
I just
it's-
want to get some idea.
Yes, 5 cents is a typical number we might throw out there, but day to day, obviously last week was a little more on the expensive side, so it was very hot. But, it's probably more 8 or 9 cents last week.
I just use the fan, so it
Yeah.
didn't really.
Luckily,
Didn't
people
matter.
don't pay their bills, week by week or hour by hour, so you just have to worry about things over time. But-
And then Reed, sorry, the gas aggregation as well is another possibility?
Yes, that's correct. And I believe that you guys are participating in that. At least with some of the accounts, I think there may be newer accounts that we may not have yeah, coupled in there. But yeah, so the gas is aggregated, and that is more of an economy of scale situation where based on the volume of customers that we have, we're able to get a better deal from suppliers. And we put out a bid, once a year? And then
Depends, once a year, it depends on where.
once we get a
basis
good
is.
deal, then
Yeah,
we
it
extend it,
depends.
but yeah, generally annually we'll do a bid and you get 3 or 4 replies and you're able to get the best deal.
And there are some accounts that we don't have through the aggregation. We'll be able to do a similar comparison to see if we should.
I've got it here. I think we sent one email and then some folks didn't get it. So I do have it. So there's I believe 4 NFG gas accounts that are enrolled currently in the aggregate. So you are a member of the aggregate for natural gas, probably for, very long time. There's 3 additional accounts that we identified from the information that was provided. Those accounts we're showing would have saved about 33% off the NFG. Your accounts were not with third party, they were just with National Fuel Gas.
Yeah.
So, and you have a little bit more load in the program than you do out of it, but this is a decent amount, and these could be enrolled tomorrow, and you don't have to sign any paperwork whatsoever, because you're already a member for gas. And so, if you emailed and said you want these enrolled, they can go in, there's no additional paperwork. Technically, we have different agreements for electric and gas, that's just how it was set up, so to get the electric accounts in, you'd have to sign a separate agreement. You may choose to re-sign both of them, because likely the gas is so old, you probably have no record of it. It probably goes back, could be 20 years or something like that. I didn't check.
We have. it, I guess.
You were actually in this program for electric back in prior to 2013. And I'm not exactly sure what happened, but the town left in 2013. I'm not sure if, so signed up with some third party and have been out since.
So, but with the gas, just to get it correct, so you analyzed the last 7 months as well with gas? And there was
With gas, we could do a year because we weren't comparing to a third party. We just compared to local utility. So yes, over the past, this was basically between the middle of March 2023 and the middle of March 2024. We compared what you paid to, well, you paid the utility rate. We compared that to what it would have been.
What was 33% in real dollars?
$1,800. The 7-month savings on electric was about $3,000. You could extrapolate that, so it's probably 5,000 plus or something.
Yeah.
There, but the best thing about it is that, next time anybody calls or whatever, you can say, well, hey, we're getting wholesale power. You don't have to go through this exercise of trying to figure out when to bid, trying to make some decision about, what's a good time to time the market at. It's kind of like if you're a stock picker or you're just got an index fund, index funds do pretty well, and you're buying the lowest cost power you can every hour. That's what's happening in the aggregate. You know, could you pick a time theoretically and lock in and save a bunch if you could predict some major event that no one else knows about right now? Yeah, you could, but you know,
Yeah.
same with everything else in life, I guess.
Okay. Absolutely.
I just have a question about the billing format. The gas bill now comes once a month, has all the breakdowns and everything with it. Does the electric, do we get a bill from NYSEG and a bill from the county, or is that all in one also?
You would get, yes, so that is, gas is, we actually do a really nice thing. We do bundle the delivery charges with gas. It's a special program that only NFG offers that the county takes advantage of. With electric, you'd still continue to get a bill, but your now bill would only be for the delivery charges. And you get one bulk bill from Erie County for the supply.
Okay, thank you.
Do the distribution charges change at all if you sign up with the county instead of going with?
They would actually decrease slightly because there's certain charges that go away. There's a certain merchant function charge. There's a slight change, but it's down. We do bake that into the savings. And of course, and maybe the gas account's too small, but there's lots of other stuff the county does. There's a website that would show any history that you have. You know, you can download information. That's where you get all your invoices. There's budgeting that we provided annually. You know, we're Fluent Energy. Anyone that's interested can contact myself or another guy at Fluent anytime if you have questions on anything like this.
We may have to wait till Friday evening to go into that though.
Yeah.
It's too exciting for a Monday thing, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a request from Chris Saban. Can I have a motion to add the pay rates for the employees below as presented based on the approval rate chart? They have recently completed their American Red Cross Water Safety Instruction course. They will get paid these rates only when they are working as a water safety instructor. Those are Adele Fiera, Susanna Winfield, and Aaron Zagorbley at those rates. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion? Chris, anything to add?
No, it's fairly.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request also from Chris. Can I have a motion to approve the request to offer summer 2024 stroke technique series by Coach Margaret Zagrobly? Can I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? Chris, anything? Good?
It's a really cool. Back.
Great. Great.
Well done.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a temporary use permit. Jennifer, you want to step up to the mic and give us? I know you've been waiting for this.
I've been waiting for
Can you talk more about electric rates, please?
I saw you taking copious notes, so if there's anything you want to add.
sustainability. I was really into it. Okay. I flew back from LA today, so I'm basically delirious. So I didn't listen at all to what they said.
Sorry.
Well, you want to tell us a little bit about the program this year?
Yeah.
Anything changed?
Everything's going to be pretty much the same. the layout, the flow, the traffic flow, 90% of my team is returning, specifically related to you guys, the parking team is all coming back. Everybody that's run the parking the past 5 years, they work with Dave Gunner really well. So they know the flow and they know where to put people, they know the soft spots, and they know just they know how to work with Dave's team too really well. So it's a great system. So I think we're gonna have more people, which is great. Tickets are selling well. So I think it's gonna be a little bit bigger, which would just be some more cars, but we have a plan and I don't foresee any issues or any changes.
Okay.
To you guys?
Great lineup this year.
It's
Thank you.
amazing lineup. It
Yeah.
really
Thank
is. Absolutely.
It's a good one.
I don't have any questions. I don't know, Chuck, if you want to reach like Dave or Shane, any issues that you
Shane
want to.
won't.
Any advice, any suggestion for the, that you say, look at, if we did this a little bit better than last year would be great, anything like that?
No, I think we've got it down pretty well.
Yeah. Excellent.
Dave, you have anything to add?
This is 6. Yeah.
You're
This
6?
is year 6, which is crazy.
It'll be a challenge.
With a break.
Yeah. With a break in the middle. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Excited.
all right,
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
we're good.
Awesome.
With that, can I have a motion to approve the temporary use permit from Jennifer Brazil for the Borderland Music Festival? Continue, we need a certificate of insurance yet. don't we? Contingents upon receiving the certificate of insurance. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Joe. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Excellent. Thank you.
Flight back leaves in 30 minutes, so come on.
He looks thrilled.
Are you gonna present on electricity next?
Things to say about it.
Good, good. Next on the agenda is the Parks Management Agreement. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the municipal park management agreement as written?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion?
I think this probably goes without saying, but I assume this was given the seal of approval from our town attorney.
Yes, it was.
Awesome.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a request from Martha. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the appraisal review and authorize the right-of-way professionals LLC to make offers to the property owners at 70 Church Street and 69 Church Street for the acquisition of property rights for the Church Street Bridge replacement, including permanent and temporary easements. The offers will be based on the property appraisals done by Donald A. Lefkowitz, certified general appraiser. Funds are budgeted in the New York Bridge grant for these acquisitions. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request from Dave Gunner. Can I have a motion to approve the hiring of Joe Kenefick as a full-time laborer at the pay rate of $20.19 per hour? Joe has already obtained a CDL permit and is eager to train to be a future one-man plow operator. His start date will be July 8th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion?
Yeah, I coached Joe in Little Loop and in soccer, and he was a really hard worker back then too, so.
It's so stellar. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the future of the South, so I'm excited. Went out, paid for his permit already. His father is a truck driver, if you may know or not,
Right.
and he's probably one of the best truck drivers I've ever seen. the apple don't fall far. from the tree.
Right.
But
Ooh, good.
First, we gotta train them now, let's see. But yeah, I'm just so happy to see how we keep finding good young youth from our.
Good.
That's terrific.
Thanks to your
Good.
coaching. Thanks to your
Exactly,
coaching.
isn't it? Yeah.
Any other
Start here.
comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request from Liz Cassidy. Can I have a motion to approve Michael V. Gleason as an electrical inspector for the town? He's had working relationships with electricians who regularly work in our town and wants to ensure that he is approved for any projects within the town or village. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second? Second. Second by Luke. Comments or discussion?
I hate to keep being this guy, but Liz, could you just explain this to me ever so briefly? I think I understand it, but
So the town has a list of approved electrical inspectors. Those gentlemen, it's all men on that list, are the people that the residents and contractors call for any electrical work done in the town and the village. That's the only inspection that our office doesn't complete, is the electrical inspection. So they arrange that directly with the electrical inspectors, and they pay them directly for their services. But we verify that those inspections have been completed as a part of the project that we're inspecting.
so if somebody shows up with a completed project and it was inspected by an electrician, but it wasn't one of the ones on these lists, that's no
Yep.
good, is that right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
And the property owner pays them, or does the town like through a 1099?
Nope, either the property owner or the contractor.
Thank you.
All set. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is another request from Liz Cassidy. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the attached MS4 letter of support?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? Anything, Liz?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the resolution for the justice courts. Can I have a motion to adopt the resolution for the justice courts? And I'll read the now therefore be it resolved. Now therefore be it resolved that the audit and examination of the records of the Aurora Town Justices for the year ending December 31st, 2023 was performed by the auditing firm of Drescher Malecki LLP, and be it further resolved that the findings of said audit and examination were presented to the town board of the town of Aurora. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion?
How was it presented to the board? I don't know if I saw it through an email. I didn't see it presented to us.
It was in the packet. Is that what you mean?
It was in this week's packet?
If the very last line says that it was presented to the town board, the town of Aurora. The findings of the audit. I don't receive any findings of an audit. Well, you got nice paper there. Look at that. You got a staple.
You get a staple?
Would you like to look at these, Jim?
Did everyone get?
No, I did not either. I was gonna ask that very same question.
Oh, okay.
It was in the communications and reports, wasn't it? Section of it.
Was it? No, it's communication reports were only
I had
No,
nothing.
I think, I'm not so sure that got sent to everyone. Is there a timeline on this, Martha? Is there a timeline on this, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I know, that's a problem.
I'm sorry?
Somebody came here and presented it?
No,
You already presented this. Yes. Would you like?
The findings were distributed at some meeting in January, I think.
Let's table it.
I don't.
But you said they were presented to the board. Do you know when they were?
Oh, yes.
The big audit one.
Well,
yes.
I think there's,
Yes.
would you like to table this for one meeting, Jim, until you have further?
Yeah,
time
I would like
study
to,
this?
yes. Yes.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
There's no reason that we have to hurry on this, right? So.
Not if it's, I mean, frankly, if it's already been presented,
If it's-
it wouldn't appear to me to be.
Was this part of the big audit that we do every year?
Yeah.
It wasn't separate. It was included with our like,
A town audit.
Not our
No,
town
this is-
audit.
This is an audit for the
Yeah.
justices.
I just don't remember. I don't recall it personally. So
They audit my department, the courts.
do you remember the presentation?
I've seen it, but I don't. recall
Yeah.
it being-
Yeah.
I don't
so
know. if it's given-
we can verify that we have it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Well,
So that said. I'll retract that last motion. Can I have a motion to table the resolution for the justice court actions?
so moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any further comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then lastly
Sure.
is the village property resolution. Can I have a motion to adopt the village property access resolution? And I'll read the now therefore be it resolved that the town of Aurora is authorized to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the village of East Aurora for the purpose of allowing employees and contractors of the town of Aurora, including its professional engineering firm and its lowest possible bidders, to access any and all village-owned property as needed for travel, construction equipment placement, and construction work on the East Fillmore Road Bridge structure over Tannery Brook and the Church Street Bridge structure over Tannery Brook for work performed in accordance with the project, provided the town ensures the village property shall be restored to its original condition if disturbed. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? Dave, do you have anything to add to that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Under communication reports, I have the May 2024 Building Department report and the Recreation Director's report. Next is business from board members and liaisons, and I'd like to go first. I would like to recognize Bridget Maloney for being in business first this past edition. And all of your work that you do in healthcare, and it's quite an accomplishment, and we're very proud of you for that. Thanks.
Nice.
And also, I'd just like to say, Shane, we're gonna miss you, buddy. Enjoy your vacation. Anytime you feel like stopping in, don't hesitate.
I'll probably just show up on it every other Monday, just out of.
That'd be great. That would be great.
Excellent.
But not the Monday that we meet.
Yeah,
You never know.
You never know.
I like that how the news broke based on your offhanded comment at our meeting. You
Right.
see that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting article. I wrote that.
Shh, they're listening.
Ray, anything for the,
Well, update on dogs at Majors and the Land Conservancy is there's no update. They're still searching for documentation. So hopefully sometime this year we'll have some resolution on that. That's
I
it.
have nothing to report tonight.
Luke?
Yep, so we had previously announced the $10,000 we were awarded from NYSERDA for reading the first milestone of the Clean Energy Community Campaign. We started our community solar campaign, and because of reaching the first milestone there, we have an additional 5,000 that we have received this week. And because of meeting this milestone in a separate program, we also gain an additional 50,000. So right now we have $65,000 from NYSERDA that we can use for climate smart initiatives, and we are looking at different projects. I don't know, we should probably,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
So we did we did meet with a contractor to talk about installing heat pumps at the library, which seems like a project that would be within that budget, and everybody will be able to see how they work, and that would be, you know, great energy saving initiatives. So probably the right size for that. And now we're just trying to figure out how we can look to get to the next milestone, because the next one is 100. So.
And
which,
it's very good timing on those heat pumps for the library, because that system is old, and it's just a matter of a relatively short period of time
right,
before we be rebuilding it anyway, so.
right. So Main Street Library, yeah. Cool. So that's exciting news, and we'll continue to work on that, and the sort of race is on, so we can get to that 100,000 before the funding ends this year. So we're in competition with our communities, but as we keep on going, it looks okay that we might be able to get there while they'll still have funding. So
Congratulations.
it's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Joseph?
I just want to mention that some things have sort of been hanging out there. We discussed them quite a bit, but they've sort of been a holding pattern. We have been making progress on both the cell tower, our fact finding, and also the comprehensive plan. Chuck and I, along with Dan Castle, had interviewed the candidates. So we hope to have something to present at the next board meeting on both of those important topics.
Yep.
That is all.
Thank you, everyone. And staff reports. We'll start with Paul. Do you have anything for us, Paul? Nothing to report? Shane, you probably have a lot to tell us. You can get it all out there now.
Sail off into the sunset. Thanks to all of you for making my job easier over the years. I'll still be around.
When's your last official day of duty?
My last day in the office will be Wednesday. My last day in the post will be Friday.
Gotcha.
Congratulations.
Borderland Grove again.
We love Music Fest. Just hearing you sing that happens.
Is it a coincidence? Music Fest is canceled and all of us, that's it. The team decides to go.
My job is done.
Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, pool's doing great right now. I mean, this bad week was very hot, so that'll help us out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right now, so. That game, however, chemicals have rose 30%. Last year's festival was offered. JV Nicely Camp, we have 2 open spots left in our first week. Build up the rest of the
Oh,
apparently the 3rd of July is next week.
Hey, Chris, are we still having Chris, are we still having an issue with the kiddie pool? The chemicals going over there, or what's the?
So what's happening there is when the chemical meter beats, it's up the kiddie pool very fast. So I'm just instructing my lifeguards, just if it goes high, wait 10 minutes, test again.
Is that something we can look for a long-term solution for? I mean, there's got to be some sort of, I mean, it's not working, right? The kiddie pool is closed, basically.
No, it's open. It'll be open for some lessons. It's just, it goes up high for a short amount of time. You know, and it's kind of tough to install and tag in Erie County. It's really not a great way to redo that. How the chemicals go into the main pool, because they go into a 6 to 8 inch line of, it just pushes it right up in there fast.
I mean, because there's got to be some solution I mean, we have ARPA funds out there. We have other things. It'd be good to look into at least to see what we could do to keep that pool open.
I'll do it.
Thanks.
Dave?
Just these 2 items that we have, the final things needed done, so residents are grateful to the assessor, the racist. We're hoping to get this bid finally, very soon, so the state approves. It's looking very, very unlikely to have this done this year, so I don't want to put that out yet, but eventually when we finally bid, I will notify the village and the public. But because of the splash shortages, spring, it's pretty much not looking too good. But there's a chance, but it's very slim. Anyway, let's hope this goes through.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a.
Thanks, Dave. Liz? I forgot to to audience two. It's an opportunity for anyone to address the board on anything they would like, any topic they would like to. Come on up. Come on up.
Zoning of 12 Old Glenwood. When does that become official?
It's official. It was
Is there
done,
some?
well, it was approved,
When it gets mailed, so it'll be.
yeah,
So in a couple days.
in a couple of days.
Is there some kind of documentation I need to present it to the attorneys before they'll close, before they'll schedule the closing?
I can send you the resolution.
But does that mean it's definite, the resolution?
Once I mail it to the state, that's when it takes effect.
Okay,
So it usually takes me a day or two.
so you can just email it to me, maybe?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, I'll keep them posted. Thank
And
you.
Martha, you said it's the day of mailing, right?
That's what we've been using.
Yeah, thanks.
So do you have approximate timeline on that?
2 days.
2 days. Wednesday's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
She said it 3 times.
And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, second by Ray.
But it hasn't passed yet.
All in favor? Aye, motion carried.
Oh, I'll say,